Hi, beautifuls. I decided I was coming on live today because I'm talking with so many people that are really struggling to feel better. And really, I think there's sort of a misconception about what achieving better wellness looks like, how we go about it, and mostly how our body helps us achieve it. So I thought, let's break it all down. Let's really go through what it looks like, what it means, and how we can feel better just utilizing our own resources for ourselves. So, the reason I want to share this with you is because I went through it myself, and my background was health and wellness. So I think the most shocking part of it is how I approached it in such a way that didn't help my body. So when I come to you today, I'm coming from experience. I did this wrong, and I actually did it wrong for years, even with a lot of guidance, a lot of experts, a lot of medical support. I still realized that I was working against myself most of the time. So, when we're looking to try and figure out what is affecting our health, how can we feel better? For most people, it has a lot to do with feeling like we're just aging and we have to accept that. And we don't have to accept it. We can feel better. And just because we're getting on in years does not mean that there aren't a million things we can be doing to backtrack some of those years. And sometimes it does take a little bit of time because we've sort of ignored something or let it go, but that doesn't mean it can't be reversed. So I want people to really listen to this session with that in mind. You can feel better. Just because you're older does not mean that you are not meant to feel better than where you are right now. So, and then as we go through this, I want you to look at it as we don't actually understand what our body's doing, and we don't understand how to support our body. And for that reason, sometimes we're working against ourselves. And so, how the example I will use, and if you know my backstory, I battled with chronic Lyme for more than a decade. I had a huge health and wellness background. And I remember the day someone said to me, "You are literally the unhealthiest healthy person I've ever met." And as much as that was hard to hear, it was absolutely true because I felt like I was doing everything. I was using all the tools and I was still getting sicker. So as we go through this, we're looking for help, right? We seek medical professionals and they will help us break it down. Sometimes there's a drug that can help us a little bit. Sometimes things can help with one symptom but not the other. But healing and health actually is so multidimensional that you don't want to just stop there. And although it will probably help a piece of it or maybe a few pieces of it, there's more going on that is causing those issues that you want to uncover them all. And I think we fear finding out what those might be because a lot of times we associate looking at causes of things or looking at what we might want to change as meaning we're going to have to stop doing something we love. And that's never the case. I promise you, it's never the case. Even when it comes to nutrition and improving your health and wellness that way, the truth is, you just want to figure it out to have the information so that you can then start looking at ways to incorporate it or alternatives, but you're not looking to restrict yourself from anything. So never fear trying to investigate the things that are affecting you. I often say, there's certain foods that I know kind of slow me down, weigh me down, make me just not clear and foggy and energetic like I want to be. It doesn't mean I don't eat them. But what it does mean is when I want to go work on a big project or I'm doing a presentation, I don't eat them before that. Now, maybe it might be the first thing I do afterwards, but the point being is I'm not restricting myself, but I at least now have the information to be able to participate or, utilize whatever those things are where it's more appropriate. I get the decision on when I want to support my body in certain and different ways and when I want to enjoy and indulge and deal with maybe the consequences. But as I went through my health and wellness journey, I knew it was going to be many years because I had many years of decline that I had to make up for. But what in hindsight now I'm shocked about is all the things I was doing that weren't helping me. And although I had great experts supporting me and great resources as far as, health and treatments and all those kind of things, I myself was really doing kind of regular sort of cultural societal things that we do that weren't helping my body heal. And so that's what I want to come with you today with is that we need to make sure we are doing these things. We also need to make sure that we're looking at the multi layers that need to look at. So when I say that, what I mean is I would, because of my background, I would look at what I was eating. And I knew things like vegetable smoothies, vegetable and fruit smoothies, vegetable juicing. All these things really pumped up my system and helped me. So I would do them. And then I'd think, oh, I feel a little bit better, but it wasn't solving my problem. So I would stop them. And then I would be like, oh, well, I maybe just need more exercise. So I would start doing more things that, again, would make me feel a little bit better, but they didn't solve my problem. And I was maybe declining. So I stopped doing those. And that isn't how healing works. How it works is, if I saw the thing that was helping me a little bit, and then I knew that it sort of had plateaued and I maybe needed to do something more, I at least had taken the time to incorporate this really good, healthful practice. I should have wanted to maintain that and then add the next healthful practice. And we do this sometimes, but sometimes we actually do it against ourselves in a different way where we will do this healthful practice and then instantly add on another one or try and do them all at the same. And then it's too much for us to adjust to. It seems like it's too laborious for us to, prepare that food and prepare um, the juice and smoothies or all the extra work or get, enough groceries that are fresh all the time to do all these things and then add on a workout or a gym membership and all these things we try to either do all at once or we do one at a time, and when it doesn't work we stop. And so I want you to look at those two scenarios, and if you can see yourself in either of them, or in my case see yourself in both of them, I want you to imagine that you're going to take your first idea and you're going to look at the easiest way to do that. So, for some people, vegetable juicing, they don't even have a juicer. It's not going to be something that's possible to do. Then I say, take your simple favorite fruit smoothie and start to add vegetables to it. And if that's all you do, even if you just make a big batch and then use it for a couple of days, start there. Start to incorporate that as a regular practice. And then get to the point, maybe you add more vegetables. And then maybe you try to do it that you drink more of it each day. But that's how subtle and slow you want to start. And then when that becomes a habit that seems effortless, like you're like, oh, I'm making supper, I'm just preparing this for the next couple of days. It's just something I do at the same time. It's not much effort. You haven't drank so much of it that you don't like it anymore. You're figuring out kind of a level that you can apply to everyday life and it works well for you. Once you get there, it just feels like it's part of you, it's easy to do. Then you look to the next layer. And maybe that is walking and stretching every day, or maybe it's just adding a 5-minute stretch that you do every day consistently. And the idea is you stay there. You stay doing that until it becomes effortless. And almost to the point where You go to bed one night and you're like, "Oh, I didn't stretch. It just doesn't feel right or natural. I'm going to get up and do a 2-minute stretch." Almost to the point where your body's craving it. It's become part of who you are. You've learned it's not a big deal. You don't have to think it through so much to make sure that it gets done. It just is part of who you are. Once you're there, then you look to the next thing. Maybe you want to improve on the dinners you're making. Maybe you want to make sure that you're drinking more water. As you're doing all these things, you want them to become part of who you are before you add another one. But the big point is that when we add these things, when we do these things and they become part of who we are, we sometimes think they're not working anymore. But what's happened is our body has really adjusted to a point that it almost feels like a plateau or a pause, but it's not. It's actually a really lovely place where now that it's become so easy and natural to you, your body has integrated it. It feels effortless, but you have also improved your health to a point that you don't even notice. And a lot of healing, when it's very natural and happens in a timeline that works with our system, it's just very slowly boosting your immune system. You're starting to create a little bit more energy. There will be a level that you don't even notice anything because it has become who you are. So these are areas that you really want to look back very carefully to, where you might have been a month or two before. How you felt when you wanted to go out for a walk. How did it feel? Did you feel this energized or excited to do it? Because real, true, natural healing happens like that in such a way that you almost don't notice it. And I always say, if you listen to any of my other videos, you really want to make change in your life in a way that your body gets tricked into it. It doesn't know what's happening. That's how things become habits to us in such a concrete, cemented way that our body isn't fighting the change. We're not finding it too exhausting because it's just slowly become part of who we are, and often we will lose sight of the benefits because it wasn't this dramatic, oh, I just all of a sudden have more energy. I'm running 5 kilometers and it's all changed. That's not actually how we want it to happen. And so you want it to be this subtle. So you will have to pay attention. You may want to keep notes as you're going through things of little things you notice that you almost think, am I convincing myself that this is better? Don't worry about that. Write it down, and you'll have this little list of all these little things that you'll be like, well, I can't argue that. Things are improving. Because otherwise, the little things you forget and you don't know where you're going. But also, part of that message is that you want it to be layers that you add upon layers, upon layers, upon layers that result in big changes, but you haven't noticed them along the way. The idea is that you've just made such subtle changes that have built up over time that you really didn't notice. And how beautiful is that? Because that means they've been easy. That means that you haven't pressured yourself or white knuckled it to try and make that change. And it means that your body has had the time to slowly integrate to, oh, this is how we're doing it now. And it goes, oh, I can change this way. Because especially when we do like yo yo dieting, for example, what's happening is right now, whatever you're eating, your body is trying to be as efficient with it as it can. So, say it's not eating very many vitamins and minerals from the food, or it's not getting a lot of enzymes from the rawness of some of the foods. It still has, because you've been eating this way for a really long time, learned to become as efficient. It has learned to utilize these things as much as possible. And sometimes when we first drastically change our diet, we'll feel like we lost all this weight, but really we kind of put our body into a stress situation. So it's struggling to like, oh, okay, how do I, do this? How do I adapt? What's going on? And so it kind of goes into this flurry, but then what its intention is to do is to become as efficient as it can with whatever you're eating. And that's why sometimes people will see crazy results, but then almost the results will go backwards because that's your body's job, is to become as efficient with whatever you're doing. And as efficient means it wants to expel as little energy and get as much energy from whatever you're doing. If we expend more energy than it's getting back, our system declines, it depletes. So it's always trying to be very efficient with that. So all of a sudden you'll go and do radical changes. You'll be burning all these calories, it'll be looking to fat because it's like, I don't know what to do. She needs more. And then it becomes more efficient. And so all of a sudden we'll feel this plateau, and then people feel frustrated because why isn't it going? So that's your body's going to be working what feels like counteracting against you. So that's why that will work initially, but really won't get you where you want to go in the end. And so that's why we want to build on these little things at a time. So if you're going to start to add more vegetables to your diet, add one that you like. I also say, you want to talk about efficiency, don't head to the grocery store and buy 15 new vegetables that you don't normally like, because as far as trying to prepare them and use them all when you haven't been doing it daily, that in itself will be a waste of energy and money. So you just want to, again, slowly add the things that you like to your grocery list, and then start to work through the week at utilizing them and preparing them in ways you like. And then add another one the next week. While you're doing that and not spending a crazy amount of money on all these things that might go bad before you use them, your body is also starting to go, oh, I'm getting more vitamins and minerals. I'm getting more, nutrients and energy and enzymes, and I'm going to start to improve my digestion. I'm going to start to boost my immune system. And the more you do it each week, the more your body will go, oh, this is a consistent thing that's coming into my body. I can start to do more. I can heal more. Okay, I don't need to save this over here because I might not get it next week. I can start to utilize it and support this system and start to build this system. And so that's what it starts to develop with time and confidence, that I'm going to be fed this way. I'm not going to be starved and that person trying to run a 10K with very little energy in their system. So it starts to have trust in that you're providing the resources it needs. And so it can start to do all the things it kind of had to put a pause on while it wasn't sure that it's going to get these things. And so the same thing applies with all aspects of your life. And so I want to run through some of the wellness things you want to look at. So, for example, a lot of us struggle with sleep, really good quality sleep. And you need to know that there are things that happen in your body while you're sleeping that can't happen any other way. They can't happen with a certain pill. They can't happen with you doing something. So you need good sleep. There's nothing we can do to change that. And so, even if all you do is spend a little bit of time starting to look at what you can do as you prepare yourself for bed, as you can set up your sleeping environment, as you can maybe manage the distractions or the influences that might change it, how you wake yourself up, how slowly you get up in the morning, what you do when you first wake up, what you do right before bed. All of these little things have such a huge impact when you put them all together on the quality of sleep you will have. You want to look at habits and trends. Like, a lot of people will find their weekends are busy, they're up later. And so then Sunday nights are hard to get back into a routine. Some people find if they just take melatonin on a Sunday night, it helps sort of break that cycle that you've started over 2 or 3 nights. that you don't want to go into the week. And so you just start then with your Sunday night with a little bit better sleep. And so then you don't even need support or a supplement to move into the rest of the week because you just broke that little routine, that habit that your body was starting to get into. So there's always little things, but these little things add up even when we're just looking at one component of our health. There's so many little things that you can do in that component that one by itself won't make a difference. 10 little ones added up make a huge impact, especially over time. So you just want to keep working away at them and starting to implement them so that they become part of who you are. Add another one, becomes part of who you are, add another one, and all of a sudden, you're a better sleeper than you ever imagined being. But the key in all of that is not giving up. The other thing we sort of get lost and confused about with healing and starting to build our wellness in our body is that it doesn't happen. I keep using this layered approach that it just keeps happening, but really healing happens in a cycle. And this is really important to understand this. So I like to explain it as in a circle. And you start to do something. You start the circle here and you do a little thing and it starts to make you feel better. And then you do another little thing and it starts to make you feel better. But really, what happens is you sort of hit this plateau, as you're getting to the peak, and it can almost feel like you then go backwards. And this is where we want to give up everything we've been doing because we're like, what is going on? But this downward side of the circle is really important. It's actually where the healing is really happening and we don't realize it. So when it feels like you're going backwards, when it feels like whatever you're trying to achieve is hard, when it feels like the ground you had gained is being lost, it's not. You have to think of it as your body now has taken over. You have given it good resources, you're building it up, you're starting to feel better mentally, and then all of a sudden things go backward. No, your body got the confidence up here that you're going to give it what it needs. And now it can start to build and help and heal and rebuild all the things that were lacking. And when that happens, sometimes your body will have to take resources from you, from what you've given it, but it now has the confidence that you're giving it enough that it can also take part of its own natural resources and start to rebuild these things. So even if you imagine it like a house that's going to be rebuilt, but it's being torn down, and sometimes we have to tear it down right into the ground to then rebuild it back up. That's what it will feel like it's doing over here when you're coming back. It'll feel maybe you're more tired, maybe you need more sleep, maybe you're hungry more, maybe you're feeling like you're just not motivated to do things. That's how it feels like when your body's using your resources to try and build you back up. So I'm going to tell you this because this is literally the biggest mistake when I was trying to heal. And as much as I knew that there were cycles in our body, as much as I knew sometimes in healing we have to get worse before we get better, I still thought over here I had done enough for myself that it shouldn't need these things. To the point that I would even say, you know what? I think napping when I'm so exhausted is a habit that I need to push through. And so I would say, I'm going to keep myself busy. It's all in my head. I don't need this nap or this rest. I'm just going to keep moving, even if I do it slowly and carefully. But it doesn't need a sleep. Well, you want to see somebody's health decline when they don't take that rest, when they're actually trying to heal? You should expect that if you're trying to improve your health, you will need more sleep. Your body is trying to help you. It can heal you faster and more effectively with better sleep than any other thing it can do. And so, if that's what it feels you need, and it was funny because I fought this in some sense for actually years. I decided, okay, it's not reasonable for me to nap in the middle of the day all the time, right? So I need to do something else here. So I started to incorporate just, I would call them brain breaks. I would just stop, close my eyes, let my body chill, try not to think of stressful things, take big breaths. And all of a sudden, I could almost rescue myself before I got that tired. Now, it didn't work very well at the beginning. It was something I had to do. I do believe I was still telling myself, my body was still needing to hear that, oh, she's going to do this a lot. I don't need to worry. I know she will do a lot to rebuild her, build her health, give us breaks, let us heal. But it took a very long time. But slowly over time, I didn't feel that extreme fatigue where it knocked me down, where it knocked me out, or naps would become shorter, or I would just fall asleep easier, faster, and have better sleep. And so you can't even imagine how these things can help you. But the truth is, if you're not trying, you're not finding the solutions. You're not giving your body confidence that you're going to provide it what it needs. And more than anything, your body wants to know that you're going to listen to it when it's trying to give you messages of something it needs. And so there is a lot of de stressing that comes from the fact when you actually listen to yourself and try to provide what your body needs. We're very stuck right now on pushing through, not listening to our body, trying to overlook what it's telling us because we don't have time to rest. We don't have the ability to rest. But the truth is, if that's what we're doing, we're always going to be requiring our body to up the message. And how it ups the message is with something more feeling off, something more going wrong. And so, as we can listen to these things, we can figure out what we need to do to support ourselves. So, we start the build up side of the cycle. We can start to add things as they feel easy and we incorporate them into our lives. We can start to notice how good we feel, and then when our body goes through a cycle of it's got confidence now, it can help us, we don't freak out. We know that, oh, it needs a little more sleep, maybe just for a couple of days. It needs a little more quiet and rest, maybe just for a night. Oh, I'm just going to feel a little more drained, so I'm not going to push my workout quite as extensively, maybe just for a couple of days, maybe for a week. And then all of a sudden, you're going to notice that you listen to your body. It's got all that it needs to boost itself again. And guess what? We're ready to start a new cycle. So now you add more vitamins and minerals and nutrients to your diet. Hey, maybe that run you've been wanting to go on just feels amazing. Why? Because you gave your body what it needed over here when it needed it. You want to talk about motivation and inspiration? Nothing is more powerful than a body that knows you will listen to it and take care of it. And it will reward you by giving you what you need when it knows you can handle it. How many times? Well, I did this for years because I so badly wanted to run again. I so badly wanted to be able to run that the second I thought, oh, I can do it, I would push myself and I would run further and harder than I could. And yes, for that moment, it felt good. But then what happened is my body would crash. And I hadn't listened over here because I mean, it was nice, I could do it, but the truth was I kept seeing this crash. And I would say, "Oh, that's in my head. I need to push through. I just need to get back up here by going this way." That's not how it happens. So had I not resisted this pause, this time where my body wanted to rebuild itself, I would have started this side of the circle a lot faster. And I've learned that now as we're going through it, that as you relax through the healing phase, through the regeneration that your body is trying to do, it does feel like you're going backwards, but it's rebuilding. It's filling up all your resources. It's helping you to fix those things that are wrong so that they don't affect you again in the same way. So take care of yourself over here because you will start to notice that cycle is amazing to watch once you start to notice it in your life. You will start to notice, oh, I gave myself a little more sleep. Oh, I need a little more quality food. Oh, maybe I need to drink a little bit more water. Oh, this side feels even better. And I explain the cycle many times, but I explain it more like a circle like this. If you follow the circle how it's naturally meant to happen in your body, the next circle goes higher, the next cycle is better. And then the next cycle even goes better. And that's how you raise. That's how you build yourself, your stamina, your health, your vibrancy, your ability to thrive comes with the cycles, not fighting the downward part of the cycle and getting all excited when the next up cycle comes. That's how it happens. That is how evolution happens. That's how change happens in nature. And that's how it's meant to happen in your body. So, all of these things are time and chance for your body to do what it does best when you give it what it needs to do that. It's very multidimensional. And as you do this and allow these cycles to happen, you are able to integrate more things each time. And you will look back after 3 months, 6 months, and go, oh, I'm eating these healthy meals. They're just part of, they don't take extra time to make anymore. They're just part of who I am. I'm exercising in some fashion every day because I'm doing these things that aren't depleting my system. They make me feel good. Maybe you've gone from someone who walks to now you're running or working out or you've joined the gym. But build slowly and then you will know the next step. You will know what your body is ready. You will feel, I want more. And I think, when we talk about oftentimes we just go join a gym because we know we want to feel better and we get healthy. We haven't got there to the point where that's what we need next. And so going to the gym when you're like, I want a bigger workout. My body, has gotten used to doing these things. I want to go the next step. I want to feel even stronger. You want to have built to a point where you feel you need to do that next step. Not just go there not knowing what to do and I'm just going to force myself. That's not how change happens. That's not how healing happens. Your body wants you to go there if you want to. It just wants you to work with it as you're building to get there. And so it takes listening to yourself. It really takes trusting that what you're being told is what you need at the time. And take it from me, it's very hard to accept that because sometimes we get told things we don't want to hear. And sometimes it is you need rest. And sometimes it is you need a little bit better quality food. Or sometimes it's just simply you need a little more time with yourself. Time quiet, rest, solitude. We can't even know sometimes what it is unless we stop to listen and ask ourselves, what do I need right now to support myself? And that will always tell you what the right next step is. So that's why sometimes we can't have someone else tell us exactly what to eat or exactly what program we should be following. We need to listen to ourselves and know that when it feels like it's all falling apart, that's when your body is trying to take the time to build you back up. And so when you have been improving on your nutrition, when you have been working out really well, and all of a sudden it feels like it's just too hard, it's not working, let your body adjust. Try and see what it needs from you to support yourself. Maybe it just needs emotional support. Maybe it needs you to stop and recognize all the good things you have done for yourself. Maybe it needs you to say, I have come far. It's never perfect. That's not how things change in nature. So why should our trying to improve our body be any different? But if we don't recognize what is going well and what we are doing well, then why would our body keep doing it? It needs positive reinforcement, or else it's going to stop doing it. And so when we go through this down phase that feels like we've gone backwards, we need to trust that our body is doing what it needs to do. And we have done a lot here. So take this time to go, wow, I did this and this and this. I guess I need some time to adjust. It needs some rest, resetting, readjusting. Maybe it just needs to pause to let it integrate. And there, my friends, when your body can sense that you will allow it to do that, it will continue to do so much more for you. Anyway, I want to leave you with that. It's Kristy Wood-Giles here. I am a health coach, and this is why I do it the way I do, because I don't believe we can do one thing to help ourselves. I think we need to do all the things we can do to help ourselves. And that includes what we say to ourselves, how we support ourselves, how we nurture ourselves, and most of all, just how we feel. Healing is a feeling that you get inside. It is something your body is very well equipped to do for you if you trust it, support it, and help it. But most of all, you just need to know that you have a strong relationship here with your body, and it's going to tell you what you need if you just let it. We're actually all doing much better than we realize. And that's why I think so many times when we think we've failed and it's all fallen apart, has actually just been this period of readjustment. And we think we lost it. We thought it all fell apart and we just let it go. And that wasn't what was happening at all. So if you look back now at some of the things that you've tried and done, can you see where maybe you actually had come really far? Maybe a lot of good things were happening, and maybe your body just needed that time to adjust, and then you could have started the cycle again. I hope you'll be able to see it, because I bet you I could. It's there. It's almost always there. We aren't letting go and giving up like we think we are. We're just not trusting that our body knows what it needs to do for us with a little bit of help from us. That's how we gain wellness. A little step at a time, a little listening back and forth from ourselves, and a little bit of trust that when things feel like they're falling apart, we're actually just getting ready to go higher and better than we ever have before. Love to all. Take care.